นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะ Okay, after paying respect to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. Hello, everyone. I'm Ayya Khemavamsi from Thailand, and today we have the Dhamma discussion, the Dhamma session with you all. Today's topic is ways of taking up practice. Okay, so today we're gonna, learn together about 4 ways of taking up practice. Like for someone, they might experience, something like different from you, from me. Like for someone, they find easier to practice, and someone find it, harder to practice. So in this sutra, in this discourse, we're gonna learn, we're gonna listen what the Buddha taught us. Hello, Mike. Hello, Isabel. Good morning. Here's good evening. Good evening from Thailand. Okay. First, we're gonna hello, Nico. Good morning. I have attached the link for you. It's from Middle Discourse number 46, MN 46. The Great Discourse on Taking Up Practice, Maha Dhamma Samadhana Sutra. Dhamma Samadhana is like when you, taking up practice, when you, embrace, and take up the practice. The Buddha mentioned in this, there are 4 ways. Actually, this is from the Middle Discourse, so it's quite long. So I'm gonna, summarize the point, from this sutra. Hello, Brian. The greater discourse on ways of undertaking things or taking up practice. The Buddha mentioned in this sutra that there are 4 ways of taking up practice or undertaking practice. The first one, there are ways. The first way of taking up practice that is pleasant now, but results in future pain. Sometimes when you practice, you feel, okay, this is, unpleasant, I'm satisfied. But actually, it gives you the result in the future pain, Excuse me. And number 2, the ways of taking up practice that is painful now and results in future pain. Painful now and painful in the future. Number 3, ways of taking up practice that is painful now but results in future pleasure. Okay, you might find it hard to practice, you might find it hard to do that things in the present moment, but in the future you will experience, pleasant feelings. And the last one, ways of taking up practice that is pleasant now and results in future pleasure. So there are 4 ways of taking up practice. From the Greater Discourse, the Buddha talked about the way of taking up practice that is painful now and results in future pain first. The Buddha said, it's when someone in pain and sadness kills living creatures, steals, commits sexual misconduct. They use speech that is false, divisive, harsh, or nonsensical, and they are covetous, malicious, with wrong view. Because of these things, they experience pain and sadness. And when their body breaks up after death, they are reborn in a place of loss, a bad place, the underworld, hell. So this is the first one. The ways of taking a practice that is painful now and in the future results painful as well. What is it? It's when someone in pain and sadness, right? For example, in this very moment, you're in pain, you're dissatisfied with everything around you, but still you kill living creatures, you steal, you commit sexual misconduct, which is um the what is it is like the suddenly I just forgot the word. When you do wrong, in physical action, or the I don't know what's it called. Um, yeah, physical actions that is wrong. The first precept, right? Kill living creatures. Second precept, steal, and the third precept, commit sexual misconduct. This is when you commit the bodily action that is wrong. Next, when you're still in pain and sadness, but you still use speech that is false, you tell lies, you use divisive speech, you try to break, the harmony community into, different part, like create the fight, create the quarrel, something like that. Yes, the word wrongdoing. Thank you. And you still use a speech that is harsh, not pleasant to listen, or sometimes you use the speech that is nonsensical, nonsense. Why do you have to say that? Something like that. So you still do the wrongdoing in speech, and also you do the wrongdoing for the mental, right? For the mind. You still think with the greed, covetous. You still think with the hatred, malicious, and you still have the wrong view. So these all are the 10 akusala kamma pata, mean the 10 unwholesome actions. Because of these things, you do these things, you experience pain and sadness. And when after you die, you will be reborn in the place of loss, a bad place, the underworld, hell. This is the first one. What is the way of taking up practices that is pleasant now and results in future pain? What are they that is pleasant now? The Buddha said, is when someone with pleasure and happiness kills living creatures, steals, and commits sexual misconduct. They use speech that is false, divisive, harsh, or nonsensical, and they are covetous, malicious, with wrong view. Because of this thing, they experience pleasure and happiness. But when their body breaks up after death, they are reborn in a place of loss, a bad place, the underworld, hell. So what's the difference? What's the difference is here, the way of taking a practice that is pleasant now, you might think like, why? You do the bad thing, right? You do the wrongdoing for the mind, the speech, and for the physical action, the bodily action. But it's actually the truth, right? When someone with pleasure and happiness and kill living creature, someone, okay, I live the best life, but I enjoy killing deer. I enjoy go deer hunting, go fishing. And you say like, oh, when you still kill living creature, but you still experience something that you say it's pleasant for you. You may feel like, okay, I'm happy now. But you know what? When you die, you'll be reborn in a bad destination. So sometimes, when people say like, oh, that people still steal someone's belonging, that people still do the corruption, they corrupt, they do bad things, in the government or in their career, they still tell lies. But why their life is just seem to be successful, or they still seem to be happy. They might feel happy at that very moment. They can do bad things, and they think that is the happiness, that is their happiness. But actually, the Buddha said, you reap what you sow, right? You will receive what you have done. So now, even though you say like, okay, I'm happy, and you do bad deeds, but sooner or later, you will receive the bad consequence. And eventually in this sutra, the Buddha said, when you die, when the body breaks up after death, you'll be reborn in the bad destination. So this is what the Buddha said. The way of taking a practice that is pleasant now, but results in future pain. The third one, what is the way of taking a practice that is painful now, but results in future pleasure? The Buddha said, it's when someone in pain and sadness doesn't kill living creatures, doesn't steal or commit sexual misconduct. They don't use speech that is false, divisive, harsh, or nonsensical, and they are contented, kind-hearted, with right view. Because of these things, they experience pain and sadness, but when their body breaks up after death, they're reborn in a good place, a heavenly realm. So you might see, like, for example, for me, when we encounter with many people, right? And sometimes people come and talk to me like, like, it's very hard for me to keep the precepts. It's very hard for me to not kill the living creatures. Why? Because my family, my whole clan, my whole, like, line of, my family, they kill for a living. They have to kill pork, they have to kill chicken for a living. But for me, I know that it's the wrongdoing. Why? Because they experience like the bad health or things like that. That's what they say, right? And they want to change the career, but it's kind of hard, right? Even for, especially in this very moment with the economic crisis and things like that, it's very hard for you to suddenly just want to change the career. But they decide to change the career anyway. They say like, I can find the money in a different way. They can find the money without killing living creature. It's hard for them, to start anew, right? But they say like, now it's hard for me to earn a living because it's new. But they say like, they have like the peace of mind. And according to what the Buddha said in this sutra, when someone in pain and sadness, but they still keep doing the right thing, they try not to harm others and not to harm themselves, try to keep the precept, have the moral conduct, they're contented and with the right view. Even though it might harder than usual, than they used to be, but they find, contented, they find the peace of mind. And you know what? After they die, after the body breaks up, they be reborn in the good destination. Yeah, so I think this is like very interesting, like, because it's what we can see nowadays, right? Like, okay, some people find it hard to keep the moral conduct because of many things, because of what they used to do. One example, one there was the man, came to talk to me like, they find it's very hard to not drink the to not tell lies in their career. They have to, like, sometimes when you sell, you have to tell, don't say like, oh, that is not good, that is, like 100% profit or something like that. But how they're gonna, like, keep the precept while working. So they may have to, use another strategy, or maybe just try to do their best, like to, balance with the work and the moral conduct, right? But eventually they say like it's easier for them to, change the department or something like that. So people will find a way to keep the precept. Why? Because when you keep the precept, like you do the good things. You can feel it in your heart, in your mind, like this gives me comfort. This gives me the peace of mind. I know that I don't lie. I know that I'm faithful to myself and to the customer, for example. So it's better for me, better feeling. So they choose that, even though it's harder to do, maybe less money, but they peaceful inside. That's what they said. This is the number 3. And the last one, what is the way of taking up practices that is pleasant now and results in future pleasure? The Buddha said it's when someone with pleasure and happiness doesn't kill living creatures, doesn't steal, or doesn't commit sexual misconduct. They don't use speech that is false, divisive, harsh, or nonsensical, and they are contented, kind-hearted, with right view. Because of this thing, they experience pleasure and happiness. And when their body breaks up after death, they're reborn in a good place, a heavenly realm. Right? So as I mentioned earlier, someone happy and they do the good deeds, and then they're happy at the moment and in the, future life. So whatever you feel that is hard to do or easy to do, but the Buddha said, try to do the good deeds. At least for the lay people, don't kill living creature, don't steal, don't commit sexual misconduct, don't use speech that is false, divisive, harsh, or nonsensical, and get rid of the hatred, get rid of the greed, the desire, and try to have the right view. This is the good things to do. Even though for some people find it might harder or easier to do, but please do this because you will experience pleasure, and after death, after you die, you'll be reborn in the good destination. This is from the Middle Discourse number 46, the Greater Discourse, but gonna summarize as the main part of it. The Buddha, in this discourse, the Buddha have the simile. The Buddha says, suppose there was some bitter gourd mixed with poison. Then a man would come along who wants to live and doesn't want to die, who wants to be happy and recoils from pain. They would say to him, here, mister, this is a bitter gourd mixed with poison. Drink it if you like. If you drink it, the color, aroma, and flavor will be unappetizing, and it will result in death or deadly pain. Someone come up to you and then say like, oh, this is the gourd mixed with poison. It won't taste good. It tastes so bad. And if you drink it, it will result in deadly pain, or you will die drinking it. He wouldn't reject it. Without reflection, he would drink it. The color, aroma, and flavor would be unappetizing, and it would result in death or deadly pain. This is comparable to the way of taking up practices that is painful now and results in future pain, I say. This is the first example, right? The second example, suppose there was a bronze cup of beverage mixed with poison. Outside looks so good, right? The bronze cup, but the beverage mixed with poison. Then a man would come along and say to you, here, mister, this bronze cup of beverage has a nice color, aroma and flavor. It seems so good, but it's mixed with poison. Drink it if you like. If you drink it, the color, aroma, and flavor will be appetizing, but it will result in death or deadly pain. You wouldn't reject it. Without reflection, you would drink it. The aroma, the color, and the flavor would be appetizing, pleasant, but it would result in death or deadly pain. This is comparable to the way of taking up practices that is pleasant now, but results in the future pain. Next, suppose there was some rancid urine mixed with different medicines. Rancid urine. You might have heard that, like in the Buddha's era, um, they used urine as the medicine. Mhm. This is a very interesting topic to talk about because, like in some places, we have to try, and it's kind of, um, a new experience, but we don't recommend you to try that. You don't have to try, the medicine in the Buddha's era, but in some places they like, okay, you can try the urine. But for the word rancid urine doesn't mean that the urine that you have to, like that fermented for a long time. It's not like that. In the commentary, they said like the urine that comes right, from your body at that moment. If you drink, it's considered rancid urine already because it's come from the body that is, so dirty. Mhm. Yeah, suppose there was some rancid urine mixed with different medicines. Then a man with specific disease, jaundice, I don't know, I forgot how to pronounce it, would come along. So someone who is sick would come along. They would say to him, "Here, mister, this is rancid urine mixed with different medicine. Drink it if you like. If you drink it, the color, aroma, and flavor will be so bad, unappetizing. But after drinking it, you will be happy. You will recover from your disease." That man wouldn't reject it. After assessing, after evaluating it, he would drink. The color, aroma, and flavor would be unappetizing. But after drinking it, he would recover from the disease. This is comparable to the way of taking up practices that is painful now. Painful, just like when you drink urine, just so painful. But it results in the future pleasure, meaning like you recover from the sickness. Next, suppose there was some curds, honey, ghee, and molasses all mixed together. Then a man with bloodletting dysentery would come along with a certain, disease. They would say to him, "Here, mister, this is curd, honey, ghee, and molasses all mixed together. Drink it if you like. If you drink it, aroma, color, and flavor will be appetizing. And after drinking it, you will be happy." He wouldn't reject it. After assessing it, he would drink it. The color, aroma, and flavor would be appetizing, and after drinking it, he would be happy. This is comparable to the way of taking up practices that is pleasant now and results in the future pleasure. So this is very good example, good image, right? Illustration for us to like, okay, now I can see the clear picture, like, okay, this is unpleasant now, just like drinking urine, but it's gonna help you recover from the sickness. Okay, now I get it. Pleasant in the future. But pleasant now and pleasant in the future is just like when you drink like the honey and you recover or you be happy. This is from the Middle Discourse number 46. And then, let's finish it. And then the Buddha said, "It's like the last month of the rainy season in autumn, when the heavens are clear and cloudless, and as the sun is rising to the firmament, Having dispelled all the darkness of space, it shines and glows and radiates. In the same way, this way of taking up practicing that is pleasant now and results in future pleasure dispel the doctrines of the various other ascetic and Brahmins as it shines and glows and radiates. That's it. And then after, mention about the shorter discourse, and then gonna do the question and answer. Okay. That we just finished is the MN 46 and now MN 45. This is also very interesting. What is the way of taking up practices that is pleasant now and results in future pain? There are some ascetic and Brahmins, in the Buddha's era who have this doctrine and view. There's nothing wrong with sensual pleasures, they say. What future danger do those ascetic and Brahmins see in sensual pleasures that they speak of giving up sensual pleasures and advocate the complete understanding of sensual pleasures? Pleasant is the touch of the female's wondrous arm, tender, soft, and downy, and they throw themselves into sensual pleasures. In the Buddha's era, there are some group of people, some group that they claim to be the ascetic and Brahmin, that they say like, enjoy sensual pleasure. What is the future danger? There's none. So they still enjoy touching the female's arm that is just so soft, tender, and throw themselves into sensual pleasures. When their body breaks up after death, they're reborn in the place of loss, a bad place, the underworld, hell. And there they feel painful, sharp, severe, acute feelings. They say, this is that future danger that those ascetic and Brahmins saw. For it is because of sensual pleasure that I'm feeling painful, sharp, severe, acute feeling. So the first one that the Buddha said, you feel pleasant now, but result in future pain. It's for someone who, throw themselves in sensual pleasures. Next, what is the way of taking up practice that is painful now and result in future pain? So much suffering now and still suffering in the future. The Buddha said, it's when someone goes naked, ignoring conventions. They lick their hands, don't come or wait when called. They don't consent to food brought to them, or food prepared on their behalf, or an invitation for a meal. They don't receive anything from a pot or bowl, or from someone who keeps sheep, or who keeps a weapon or shovel in their home, or where a couple is eating, or where there's a woman who is pregnant, breastfeeding, or who has a man in her home, or where there's a dog waiting or flies buzzing. So here, you can learn what people actually do in the Buddha's era. Some group, throw themselves in the sensual pleasure. Some group try to do things, try to have the like exception. I don't do this, I don't do that. Try to be like strict to themselves, but in the nonsensical ways of practice, just like this. Accept no fish, no meat, no liquor or wine, drink no beer. They go to just one house for alms, taking up just one mouthful, 2 houses and 2 mouthful, 7 houses and 7 mouthful. They feed on 1 saucer a day, 2 saucers a day. They eat once a day, once every second day, up to once a week and so on, even up to once a fortnight. They live committed to the practice of eating food at set intervals. They eat herb, millet, wild rice, poor rice, water lettuce, rice bran, scum from boiling rice, sesame flour, grass or cow dung. They survive on forest roots and fruits or eating fallen fruit. They wear robes of sun hem, mixed hem, corpse wrapping cloth, rags, lot, tree bark, antelope hide, gusa grass, bark, wood chips, human hair, horsetail hair, or owl's wings. They tear out their hair and breed. Committed to this practice, they constantly stand, refusing seats. They squat, committing to persisting on in the squatting position. They lie on a mat of thorns, making a mat of thorns their bed. They devoted to ritual bathing 3 times a day, including in the evening. And so they live committed to practicing these various ways of mortifying and tormenting the body, torturing the body. When their body breaks up after death, they reborn in the place of loss, a bad place, underworld, hell. This is called the way of taking up practices that is painful now and results in future pain. So after hearing this too, right? Now we can see the clearer picture of the way of life in the of people in the Buddha's era. Some group, you know, sensual pleasures, committed to the sensual pleasure, enjoy the sensual pleasure. Another group, groups of people, other groups of people try to torture themselves because they think like if they torture themselves, if they suffer now, they're gonna, end the suffering. This reminds me of the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra, the discourse of the Dhamma wheel. That the Buddha said there's two, way. The one, Kamasukhalika you know, you put yourself into, all the sensual pleasure. That is not the way leading to the end of suffering. Another way is to torture yourself, mortifying, tormenting the body. That is not the way leading to the end of suffering. But the Buddha said there is the middle path that is called the Noble Eightfold Path. So this reminds me of the discourse of the Dhamma wheel. Very interesting, isn't it? And then next, what is the way of taking up practices that is painful now and results in future pain? Okay, painful now but result in future pain. The Buddha said, is when someone is ordinarily full of acute greed, hate, and delusion. I'm born full of greed. I'm born, it's something that is, I'm used to be, full of greed, full of hatred, and full of all delusion. They often feel the pain and sadness that greed, hate, and delusion bring. They lead the full and pure spiritual life in pain and sadness, weeping with tearful faces. Someone try to, try to follow the middle path, follow the Noble Eightfold Path, but it's their nature that, full of hate, full of greed, full of delusion. So they might find it harder to practice in the holy life, the holy path. So sometimes they practice with pain and sadness, practice with tearful faces. That is the real thing that we encounter. It's the real thing that we can see in the real life. Like someone find it so hard to practice. Someone there, weeping with a tearful face. They want to disrobe, but in their mind they say like, this is the right way to do, but it's just so hard for me to follow. But they still try to do. They still, try to do their best. The Buddha said, when the body breaks up after death, they reborn in a good place, a heavenly realm. This is called the way of taking up practices that is painful now, but results in future pleasure. Okay, I'm gonna answer the question later. And what is the way of taking up practices that is pleasure now and results in future pleasure is when someone is not ordinarily full of acute greed, hate, and delusion. They are born with, you know, less greed, less hate, and less delusion. They rarely feel the pain and sadness that greed, hate, and delusion bring. Quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unskillful qualities, they can reach the meditative state of mind. They can reach the jhana, the concentration, the right concentration, the first, second, third, and fourth absorption. When their body breaks up after death, they reborn in the good place, heavenly realm. This is called the way of taking up practices that is pleasant now and results in future pleasure. These are the four ways of taking up practices. So some people they're born, in their nature, and they find it easier to, follow the path, the noble eightfold path. There's some people like this, and there's some people that they can live happily, with the right concentration, with the wisdom. Yes, these people still exist. And so it's just like the Buddha said, some people find it, easier to practice, and after death, they be reborn in the good destination. So these are the four ways of taking up practices, according to the discourse MN number 45 and 46. And now I'm gonna answer the question. I hope you understand. Hello, Brian. Hello, Isabel. Hello, Fodisi. Satu. Hello, Dhamma learner. Good morning, Ayya. Hope you feeling better. You're sounding better. Rest more when you can. Thank you. Good morning, Greg. Good morning, Ayya and everyone. Good morning, Maria. Hello, Shayanta, Fernando. Peaceful, safe day, Ayya. Hello, Rebecca, Manaus, Suth. Hikaru Hashimoto said, Dear Ayya, the Polish Buddhist Union want to teach in school that only men and women are basic of happiness and safety. Is it right? Am I really not correct as a gay person? I don't really understand your question. Teach in school that only men and women are basic of happiness and safety. Am I really not correct as a gay person? I don't know about the Polish Buddhist Union. I don't know about that. But to answer the question that am I really not correct as a gay person, for me, no. We all the same. We all the five aggregates: the body, the mind, feeling, memory, and the mental formation. We just the five aggregates. That is my opinion. That is according to the Buddha, just five aggregates. But when we say like, okay, man, male, female, gay, whatever, like LGBTQ, it's just something that we label. Okay, we different with the, like appearance different. But actually, the Buddha said, everyone is just the same, the five aggregates. Rupa Khanto, the form, the mind, feeling, perception, and the mental formation. So we are just the same. And if we practice, we can find the same solution. We can experience the same thing. Good morning, Maria. Maria, right? Good morning, Miriam, Rishin. Johannes asks here. They accept no liquor, wine, and drink no beer. Why is this included in the misguided and pointless practice, do you think? Here, actually include the no fish, no meat. Here, I would like to say that if we practice, for example, some people want to be like vegetarian, vegan, you know, where what's it called, the corpse, the rope from the corpse, pangsukula rope, actually it's considered okay if you say like, I want to wear it because it helped me to cultivate wholesome qualities. It's good. If you don't drink beer, don't drink liquor, alcohol, it's in the 5 precept, right? Number 5 precept is actually, I want to talk about this. Actually, for the lay people, 5 precept, right? No killing, no stealing, no sexual misconduct, no lying, and no drinking the intoxicant like wine, beer, alcohol, things like that. Actually, there are 4 things that is like the main thing. This is called kama kilesa, unwholesome action. If you do this thing, number 1 to number 4, gonna lead you to the bad things, bad consequences. But number 5, the Buddha include this into the 5 precept. Why? There's one thing that is say like the word Sura Meraya Machappamatatthana. Sura Meraya intoxicant Machappamatatthana. Why? Because it leads to the carelessness. Number 5, drinking beer, alcohol leads to carelessness. And when you drink beer, wine, alcohol, intoxicant, right? You can kill living creature because you careless. You can kill someone, drink and drive, right? Drunk and drive, right? Yeah. You can steal. You can do the sexual misconduct, and then you can tell lie. Because of number 5, you're gonna be careless. That is why it's in the 5 precept. If you keep, okay, I don't drink beer, I don't drink intoxicant. Why? Because I know that it's gonna lead me to be careless. So I'm not gonna do that. If you keep that precept because of this, okay, wholesome quality, right? But if you think like, okay, I'm not gonna drink alcohol, I'm not gonna drink beer. Why? Because I'm gonna torture myself. It's like when you keep precept without wisdom. I'm just gonna do that because I wanna torture myself. Because I want to be, someone that is like better than you. That is unwholesome quality. So it's included in the misguided and pointless practice. So if you can, read the whole thing in that number 2nd, right? Some things in there actually consider good, but you have to have the right view to do it. For example, no meat, no fish. Some people as a vegetarian or the vegan, they say like they don't want to harm animals, right? They don't want to be a part in harming, other living creatures. If you think like that, okay, wholesome quality. But if you think like, okay, I'm not gonna accept meat, I'm not gonna accept fish, because when I do it, I feel like I'm superior. Okay, at first you might think like, okay, I'm not gonna harm animals, not harm other living creatures. But the more you do, the more unwholesome quality arise. For example, you have the conceit, I'm better than you. Oh, you still eat meat? I don't eat meat, I'm better than you. And when you try to torture yourself, and the more you do, the more unwholesome quality arise. That is misguided. That is not useful in the, not the useful practice. So here, in number 2, right? all those things, like don't wear the what's it called, mm, the robe, right? Actually here, wear robes of sun hem, mixed hem, corpse wrapping cloth. Some people use that is in the Tutanka. Some people practice this, try to do this. The Buddha said, if you practice like this and the wholesome qualities arise, then you can do. But if you practice this and the all unwholesome qualities arise instead, then you should stop. So this is kind of interesting as well. It's just like when, in some monastery that they say like, okay, I'm vegetarian, right? I'm not going to eat meat. If you practice that, if you follow that, and it's, beneficial or it support your path in the holy life, like, like just go for it. But if you, don't eat meat, don't eat fish, but you sick, then you might have to think like, am I torturing myself now? Because the Buddha never say in any discourse that please be vegetarian, please be the vegan. The Buddha did not say that. The Buddha said just like, okay, do not harm the living creatures, but if they die, but like we have to live according to the people that donate to offer the food to us. We cannot say like, okay, I want this only, I want that only. The Buddha did not teach us to do like that. So we have to do the goals arms round, right? And eat whatever the people offer us. If the people offer us like the vegetarian food, okay, we can eat. If they offer us the meat, the Buddha said, just think of it just like your own flesh of your own baby, something like that. Do not take pleasure in the meat, but do not discard the meat away, because we have to live according to the alms round. But for some places that they're gonna be the vegetarian, up to them. You can try that. But if you're sick because of lack of the protein or things like that, or it's not suitable for the place that you live in, sometimes you cannot ask for the all the fruit and vegetable, right? Then you have to live from according to someone who offer you food. This is kind of controversial in Thailand as well, because like some people think like, okay, vegetarian is better than eating meat, something like that. But it's not what the Buddha said, like be vegetarian, be the vegan. The Buddha did not say that. Yeah. So to answer Joanna's question, whatever you do, if the wholesome qualities increase, okay, do that. But if the unwholesome qualities increase instead, then you should stop doing that. The intent behind abstaining from things or not is what is important. I suppose we can say the misguided practice are empty ritual without true understanding. Yes, this is called Silapata Pramat in Pali. Silapata Pramat, meaning that you keep the precept, you keep the moral conduct just for the sake of, be reborn in the good destination only. Or if I, do not lie down, if I sit only, persist on, sitting only, but not in the, not lying down for the whole life, then I'm going to be reborn in the Brahma realm. That is called Silapata Brahma. you don't keep the precept with the right understanding, everything has the purpose, have, like, with the, if you know why you keep the precept, then you are going to understand, like, okay, why the Buddha say that this is the right thing, because it gonna protect you. It's like the fence gonna protect you. We keep the precept, we keep the moral conduct, we keep the patimokkha, the vinaya, because there is the reason behind that. We do not keep the precept just like for the sake, like, I'm gonna be reborn in the heavenly realm, I'm gonna be, better than that person, I'm gonna be, like, if I keep this precept, or if I keep the tutanka, like the special one, then people gonna come and pay respect to me more, I'm gonna get the wealth more. If you keep like that, that is not the right understanding, and it's called silapata prama, things that the noble disciple should abandon. So the precept has to come with the wisdom, moral conduct with the wisdom. If you know why we have to keep it, then it's gonna be something that is normal thing to you, like, the benefit. And then next question. Hello Pumika. Hello Yankee Apple. Okay. How to put Pawani, how to put this sutra into practice. Um, how to put into practice, I say, how to how to see it in our real life. The Buddha in this discourse is for us to see it in our real life, that okay, it's normal for us. There are four ways of practice, right? Of taking up the practice, right? Some people find easier. Some people find it's hard to do. But we can choose to do the right deeds, the right action, or choose to do the wrong actions. But if you do the right deeds, then gonna have the right consequence. Good deed, good consequence. Bad deed, bad consequence. That's it. So in this sutra, it's just something like to share up, in my opinion, just to share up. Like, yeah, sometimes or some people find it so hard to practice, find it so hard to follow the right way. But even though they have the tearful face, practicing the right way, but if you keep doing it, you're gonna have the right and the good outcome, good consequence. And then we can see in real life that some people, you know, kill living. Oh, I'm wealthy. I have a lot of money. I don't have to work. I love to go deer hunting. I love to go fishing. We can see that. And they still enjoy their life. Yes, we can see that. So it's just something like, it's when someone who is pleasant, full of happiness, doing bad deeds, and now they still have the, enjoying life, but eventually you reap what you sow, right? You get what you have, what you do, what you've done. So in the next life, maybe we cannot see in this life, but in the next life, they're gonna be in the bad destination. So this is like something like we can see in our real life, like, okay, it's actually true. That person doing bad deed, but they still do bad deed with a smile. Okay, it's up to them. But for me, even though I'm crying, I'm weeping, so sad, so hard to do, but I know this is the right way to do, and I'm keep doing it, and do good deeds, gonna have the good outcome. Hello, Jim McCarty from Ireland. Hello, Nico. Thank you for the teaching. Hello, Hima. Dear Ayya, how to deal with the hatred toward people who made me sad and unhappy in daily life? Deal with the hatred toward people who made me sad and unhappy. For me, oh, when hatred comes, I immediately lost my samadhi and mindfulness and being wrapped by rage. How to deal with hatred? I would say like practice more the loving kindness meditation, and also like if you still unhappy with someone who made you sad, that means you place the like you give the importance to that person, right? If you don't care about that person cannot harm you mentally, right? When you care this person, if that person talks nicely to you, then you're happy. If that person talks like bad things to you, then you're sad. That means you give the importance, you give the value to that person. But for me, when people, like make me, some people cannot make me sad or unhappy because I don't, for some people, like, why do I have to care, you know, of that person? If we know that that person doesn't like have the right intention or have the right or like have the loving kindness toward me, or like really care about me, then I'm not gonna care about that person. Being a bhikkhuni in Thailand, it's kind of hard because they don't accept, but sometimes when we give the Dhamma talk, and then people just gonna like, oh, what, and talk bad things to me and to us, like just like I don't feel sad because of that, because they don't know the truth and they don't know the situation, they don't know me, so they cannot make me sad. So maybe here you may have to, for the Hima, right, you may have to contemplate like, why do I have to be sad because of that person? The Buddha said you're gonna suffer when you cling on to something, when you have the desire, right? Desire is the cause of suffering. And when you desire and when you cling on to it, then it's the cause of suffering. So just feel like it's normal for us people in this world to hear gossip, to hear bad speech, harsh speech. It's normal. Even the Buddha, people talk bad things toward the Buddha, to the Buddha. So it's normal for me. If I know that I've done something wrong, say sorry, correct your mistake, and then let go. But if you know that you do the right thing and people talk bad things to you, people don't understand you, people, gossip about you, just it's not the truth, so that's it. Mm. And then Greg said, one possible solution is to contemplate how hatred leads you to lose concentration and mindfulness and work with that a little bit by bit. Then over the time, there's less motivation to create hatred. Hmm. Yeah. Hatred, when, like people are different, right? Hmm. Yeah, people are different. They're born different. We are born different. We have the different environment, different upbringing, different view, different mental formation, different memory perception. So if they, think bad things, actually, if we, try, not try, if we practice loving kindness more, and then we can see like, actually, we feel sorry for them because they don't know, because maybe they have like the bad upbringing, the bad things in their life. We can do bad things. They do bad things. We all just, someone who's still practice. They have, there's someone who need practice. Me, I need practice as well. So try to, like forgive and don't cling on to that person. Sometimes when you feel sad because you cling on to that person, more than you should be, right? Mm. And cultivate the loving kindness. And then, see, just like Greg said, see, hatred destroy inside, it's burning inside, it's not good. So try to keep the mind from hatred. Try to keep the mind with the loving kindness and, spread the love instead. And try not to cling on to that person. And then BL Hari, where's the Lord Buddha now? Nirvana. And the Lord Buddha now is in our heart. Mike said, if I'm understanding correctly, this teaching are to understand why doing harm is bad, to understand that even pleasurable action can cause harm, and to abstain from those actions out of kindness, rather than a misguided sense of superiority or a desire for self-harm. Mm, yes. Mm-hmm. Mateo, right? Many people do things to gain merit. I find this troubling. Rather than doing something out of goodness of one's heart, they do it for merit. This seems out of step with the Buddha's intent. Yes, that is so correct. But as I said, people are different. For some people, they might, like still need something to hold on to, like, okay, I'm gonna make merit because, um because of the merit, then I, like born in the good destination of things like that. That's for some people, but at least they do the good things. But actually it's gonna be better, yes, as you say, doing something out of goodness of one's heart without wanting the merit. There's in one sutra, I cannot remember the name, but the Buddha said, like, if you do good deeds just for the sake of the merit, you're gonna, like, okay, this level of goodness. But if you do goodness out of, the mind that I don't want anything in return, I don't want the merit in return, actually, I just want to do because it's good to do. I just want to do because it's a good thing for do, it's a good thing to do, to, like give out, to, have the rapture, have the joyful inside, something like that. That's even greater than do the merit just for the sake of the merit, right? In Thailand, we have that. I'm gonna offer the fried rice, or for example, I'm gonna offer the pizza because in the next life, I want to eat pizza. People say that. Oh, next life, I want to eat this again. I want to eat spaghetti. I want to eat, like fried rice again. I'm gonna make merit with the fried rice because next life I'm gonna eat that. It's for some people. So it's for us, it's our duty for us as a monastic, like, okay, maybe you can change the perception, with the more knowledge, with the wisdom, but at least they do the offering, at least they do the good deeds. But it's the duty, sorry, the mosquito, it's our duty of the monastic duty first, give the knowledge, like you do for the, when you do, actually when you give out, you happy inside, right? Try to do this. It's not about the money, it's not about the value of the things that you donate. It's about the mind. Mm. Okay, thank you, Greg. Thank you, Hima. Nirvana and Nibbana is the same. It's just I think it's Sanskrit or Pali, right? It's just the same thing. Okay, any more question? I hope you learned something new today, and something that, like, for you to contemplate, and then, yeah, see in your real life that, okay, some people find it easy to practice, some people find it hard to practice, but even though you find it harder or easier, do the right deeds, do the right thing, not for the sake of the merit, but do the right deed. Just, it feels good to do it, right? It feels peaceful. I feel like less suffering. I feel, you know yeah, pleasant inside. Try to get rid of the hatred, because it's not good things, not good thing. Try to get rid of the delusion, ignorance. Try to get rid of the greed. Why? Because when we can feel for ourselves, if when we have less hatred, less desire, and more wisdom, we feel lighter, happier. Mm. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Greg. Thank you for the talk and insightful answer. Thank you very much. And then, wow, this is 1 hour already. Time flies, huh? Okay, that's it for today. I hope you have a pleasant day. And before we part, let's say Satu 3 times. Satu, 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 Anumotani. May you all be safe, be well, and may we reach the Nirvana, Nibbana, reach the supreme happiness, the true, the right liberation from all the hatred, greed, and delusion. สาธุนิพพานะปัจจโยโหตุสาธุ